Welcome to another video, and today I'll go over one unwritten rule for each agent in the game. In Valorant, every agent is different. Different abilities, different type of players playing that agent, and because of this, we as the community created unwritten rules if we play with or against a specific agent. So to all the newer players out there, please, if you don't know these rules yet, follow them in your games, and you'll make a lot more friends and a lot less enemies. Let's start with the first rule, and this one is about race. A thing that a lot of race players like to do is of course the double jumps. And the unwritten rule is about those double jumps, and that's that you shouldn't be standing in front of your teammate if you notice that he wants to go for the jump. Too many times I tried to do a double jump with race just to be blocked by a teammate, and that's so annoying. What? So please, especially at the start of the round, don't stand in front of those race players. Next agent. Let's talk about the rule of Omen now. It's very simple. If the enemy Omen is using his ultimate and nobody heard where to, then there should always be one teammate checking the spawn of your team. Not sure why, but Omen players always like to teleport to the enemy spawn, especially in the lower ranks, and you don't want an Omen in your back, so check that spawn and you might get a kill over there. Let's move on. The unwritten rule of Clove is almost the same as that of Omen, but instead of running towards Clove, everybody should run away if Clove uses their ultimate. Please, my friends, don't try to be the hero, just run away and make sure that Clove doesn't get respawned. And I know, there are some situations where peeking is the right option. For example, where you don't got a lot of time left because the spike is planted. But in most cases, the Clove player dies because of an aggressive peek anyway, and then simply don't peek again, run away, and let the time of her ultimate run out. I need someone! Yeah. Next agent, Deadlock. This one is actually pretty funny, because it's something that every Valorant player is doing. You probably also did it once, and that's that when Deadlock gets the last enemy with their ultimate, of course you gotta disrespect that enemy while he's getting reeled in.
Enemy remains. That was so fucking
I don't even think the enemy can see that you're disrespecting him, but it's something that Valorant players just do. Another thing that Valorant players with a good morale do is destroy the sofa drone if they notice a teammate is going for a sneaky red play. Honestly, don't be one of those people that doesn't destroy the drone if they see that the drone is about to spot your teammate. Just help them out. Maybe they can get some ready kills from that corner. Next agent, ISO. A rule about this agent is that if you see that your teammate ISO is using his ultimate, then it's your cue to push the side with your team. The real strength of the ISO ultimate is of course that he can get an enemy off the side. So if your teammate ISO uses his ulti, there's one less enemy on side, so go for that control, push it. And with a bit of luck you can get to the spawn of the enemy, and if ISO were to lose the 1v1 battle, you can simply kill the spawn point and get a free kill yourself. The next agent almost has a similar unwritten rule, and that's the one of Breach. The thing you gotta know when the Breach is in your team is that he is the captain, my friends. You wait with pushing till Breach is ready with his stun, flash and maybe even ultimate, and if you don't do that, then there's a high chance that you will be the one who gets stunned in the round, and that's no good, my friends. Next rule, let's talk about Jett. A nice thing about Jett players is that they often drop guns to their teammates when their ultimate is ready. But sometimes Jett players even drop guns to their teammates when their ultimate isn't ready yet, with the idea that they take an AWP in the round and then use their ulti. So when this happens, you get a drop and your teammate Jett needs one ultimate point, and of course you gotta help your teammate Jett to get that ultimate point.
Yeah, there.
And even though Jett died in this round, it was still worth it because she got a kill with the shorty, and it was a 2-for-1 trade. Next agent, Harbor. Harbor? Are there any Harbor mains out there? The last time I've seen this agent in my game was maybe a year ago. And just look at this, the pick rate of Harbor is 0.4%. Since I don't see this agent ever, I don't have an unwritten rule for this guy, sorry. Maybe the unwritten rules do not main him. No hate to all the Harbor mains, by the way. I always love it when a Harbor is in my team, so much utility. But sadly, most people just don't like to play this agent. Next one, Phoenix. This one is also pretty funny because this rule is not smart, but everybody does it. If you notice that the enemy Phoenix is using his ultimate, of course you need to try to sneak to his spawn point, and if you are certain that it's completely clear, then the unwritten rule is to knife that Phoenix. I feel bad for all the Phoenix mains out there. I also mained this agent for a while, and in that short amount of time I never got knifed more in my career. Let's now move on with Cypher. There's one thing about this agent that a lot of Valorant players are doing, and that's that if they play on the attacker side and they play against the Cypher, they try to do everything to avoid this player. You're planning to push B with your team, but you hear that Cypher cam, then yeet, do a 180 and run to the other side. Honestly, pushing against the Cypher is so hard to do. So overall in your games, most of the rounds you simply don't push the Cypher, and in the few rounds of your half that you do push Cypher, you're either prepared with a good race grenade, or you do it in the rounds when you know the enemies are eco and the Cypher doesn't buy tripwires. Next agent, Yoru. This rule is for when Yoru is in your team, and it's very simple. Let Yoru cook. Huh? What do I mean with that? Well, my friends, the Yoru kit is extremely aggressive. This means that when you're playing on the attacker side and want to push with your team, Yoru could already be in the enemy spawn with his teleport or his ultimate. On top of that, Yoru can do a lot of combos, but these combos are purely good for him and don't have to be good for their team. He doesn't have to stun people in like Breach does. So, the simple rule about Yoru, just let your teammate Yoru cook, he probably knows what he's doing. I'm back. Oh la la. Okay, Gecko mains, the rule about this agent is directly for you guys, and that's that if you play Gecko and you have enough money for your wingman, then go on and just take the spike. Honestly, so many Gecko players are not picking up the spike, and if you really think about it, the fact that the wingman can plant the spike is like the whole reason why Gecko is such a good agent, so it's a big waste if you're not abusing that ability by not picking up the spike. So do it, Gecko mains, don't forget it. Let that yellow blob of you plant. Now let's do KO. When this agent is in your team and he dies while his ultimate is ready, you shouldn't be giving your own life while trying to revive him. Time and time again I see people making unnecessary risks in the hope that they can revive their teammate, but if KO is lying all the way in the open, then the unwritten rule is to just let him lie there and let him bleed out, or whatever robots do. And honestly, the KO players out there, they will probably understand why you didn't revive them. However, of course, when KO is on a safe spot, then you need to revive him. I also see a lot of players just letting KO die while he's on the safe spot. That's also a waste. Next agent, Sky. 2 rules about this agent. Rule number 1, if you want to call out the Sky ultimate, you need to call those things cabbages, because they are cabbages. Rule number 2, if the cabbages are coming towards you, always just shoot directly on them, and often you even get an easy kill. Look at this.
I'm just gonna TP.
I just... Oh, what? What the f***? I wasn't even shooting at them. I was shooting at the dog.
Not the dog, cabbages. They are called cabbages. Now let's talk about chamber. If you got a chamber in your team and you picked up an operator, but you're not sure to what teammate you want to drop that operator, then most of the time chamber is your go-to. Often the chamber players don't even need to ask for an operator. When I mained him for a while and a teammate picked it up, I always got an operator thrown to me. And this only makes sense, right? If you're a chamber player, you're probably good with this gun, otherwise you wouldn't have picked this agent. The next rule we're gonna talk about is not a fun rule, but I got a feeling that especially with this agent, it's always the case. And that's that if you're a Reyna main and you want to play Reyna, you need to insta-look this agent. I know, don't shoot the messenger, it's a bad thing to do. But honestly, if you don't insta-look Reyna, a teammate of you will, and then you won't be able to play this agent anymore. Neon, what can we tell about her? Well, there's one thing that Neon's very good at, and that's running. But even though she's the fastest agent in the game, still I see some players trying to outrun Neon when she uses her ultimate. Don't do this, my friends, never try to outrun a Neon. If you notice that the enemy is using her ultimate and you hear steps coming towards you, just stand your ground, maybe use utility if you have, and stay calm, my friends. Aim for the head and shoot.
Oh, nice.
Holy damn. And kinda similar rule we have about Fade. There's one thing that almost every Valorant player knows by now, and that's that the Fade ult isn't that strong. Don't get me wrong, it's a good ability, but if you get ulted by Fade, instead of running away, you can simply also stand your ground and shoot on the enemies. Often it will work out, just like in this round.
One him.
How the heck do I kill someone here?
Nice, Sage. You're deep.
What the? Sage players, imagine you got your ultimate and you see 2 of your teammates lying on the ground. Which one do you revive? Well, no worries, there's a golden rule for it. If they're both on a safe spot, you either revive the teammate with his ultimate ready, or the teammate that's higher on the scoreboard. Usually it's the second option. However, there's one exception, and that's if one of the players is your pre-mate. If you're duo queuing with a friend, he plays bad, he's bottom of the scoreboard, he doesn't have his ultimate, but he's lying on the ground there, you need to revive your friend. Put a little trust in him. He probably will make kills when you do that. Let's now talk about Vice. When you notice that the enemy Vice has her ultimate ready and you got some extra cash, always try to upgrade your secondary gun. Honestly, if you got enough cash, you're better safe than sorry. Almost every pistol is better than a classic. Go for 1 tappies with the Sheriff or a Ghost, or even buy a shorty, because the thing about the Vice ultimate is that if she uses it, there's a high chance that they will push you, and then suddenly the shorty becomes pretty decent. So if you got the cash, upgrade that pistol. Now Viper rule. If you play on the defender side and the enemy has planted the spike but you see the Viper is still alive, then at least one teammate should push a little deeper than usual. The reason being, of course, is that Viper players like to play around the post plant, and honestly, molly lineups in combination with their smokes is almost an insta win, so you need to push that Viper in the post plant, man. Don't let the user mollies.
One enemy remaining.
Haha, that's it. Killjoy. This agent is mainly strong because of her setups, right? But the thing about her setups is that all her abilities simply lie on the ground. This means that the unwritten rule for KJ is if you notice that the enemy has a KJ, you not only check the corners on the left and the right, but you also need to aim down for a while to search for nano swarms. If you're in time, you can destroy the nano swarms before KJ can activate the setup, and that's how you counter a Killjoy, my friends. The next rule is about the Brimstone ultimate, and that's that if you notice that the enemy Brimstone has his ultimate ready, you're not gonna stand in a tight place. Think about places like lamps on bind or tower on fracture. It's very common for Brimstone players to ult those spots when they are pushing, so don't stand in those spots when the Brimstone has his ult. Next up on the list, we have Astra. Astra doesn't get played a lot, but for those who did play Astra, there is something that you had to have done in the first game you played with her. And that's of course the caterpillar trick. This trick seems so obvious, place a lot of stars back to back and retract them while you walk through the smokes. The smokes will look a little bit like a caterpillar, and probably once you've done this trick once, you realize that it's a very bad trick and you're probably never gonna do it again. But still, everybody who plays Astra must have done this trick at least once.
Spike down A.
Next up we have Tejo. At the time of this recording, he's like the newest agent, so I don't have a real unwritten rule for him yet, except that if you're not a Spanish speaker, you're probably gonna mispronounce his name at least once. And this, my friends, this was the last agent. If you made it all the way to this point, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I would really appreciate the support, and I see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.